Greg Bakun here. I've been talking for a while about how spooky, fun, and fascinating the Minneapolis trolley tours are, but now there's big news. The Candlelight Ghost Tours now begin at the historic Pillsbury Club, a beautifully restored haunted mansion once owned by Charles Pillsbury himself. Believe it or not, the interior is nearly 200 years older than the exterior. How is that possible? You'll have to come out and find out. Before or after your tour, stop by the on-site market featuring a curated collection of handmade goods, artisan crafts, and locally inspired treasures. Perfect for picking up a keepsake to remember your haunting adventure. You'll also find exclusive spooky merchandise from Tales of the Crypt and Elvira. Then, climb aboard the climate-controlled trolley as we travel through Minneapolis' haunted hotspots, uncovering ghost stories that locals would rather keep buried. The mansion is restored to perfection, and there is no better way to spend an evening. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets and more information.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining us on this Tuesday evening. And in the Twin Cities, you know, there was talk about basically storms happening tonight. And one of the last times that we're going to have Deb on that we decided to cancel because there was very severe storms in her area. And I was wondering if that was going to be the case up here tonight, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know about your area in the Twin Cities, but out where I was and a band of storms came through my area up in the St. Michael Elk River area. There was I didn't see really anything. So thankfully, I hope I got that right and that there isn't people who've had some very severe damaging storms in the area. I didn't see any, and I hope everyone stayed safe there. So just a very, very interesting night. And, you know, we've had this massive heat wave that's been coming through, very, very tough. I think next few days, it looks like we're going to cool down a little bit here. I'm really excited tonight. Every time we have Deb on, and we have Deb on at least one Tuesday a month, talking about experiences and stuff. And, you know, this is always a great time. We're not doing one question readings tonight, but this is a great time to kind of listen to the experiences that Deb has had. She breaks them down into, we're basically doing modules. I mean, this is kind of a masterclass over the course of the last 6 months or whatever. So this is something that, I think both her and I are really hoping that people are resonating with. The feedback I'm getting is that that they're resonating with it. So this is always great. And tonight, Deb's topic is going to be the awakening process, and that's something I'm really excited to talk about. Deb, welcome to GhostBox Radio. How are you doing?
Hi, Greg. I'm great. The awakening process is one of my favorite topics to discuss. Obviously, we also call our shows the Awakening Code because the awakening is what I strive for. And so it is my absolute favorite thing to teach of all time. So I'm really excited about tonight.
Is that because it's like almost like a flower that is blooming, so to speak, for people? Is that why it's something that you really that you get really excited about teaching?
Yes, because every time I look at somebody, the first thing I do is I look at their potential. I see their greatness, and it's like this bottled up, beautiful explosion waiting to happen. And I just can't wait to give them the knowledge so that they can open that up and blossom and bloom in all the ways that they were meant to, because every single one of us are meant for something in this earth. And when we find that passion and we find that alignment and we awaken to it, that's when our life becomes the happy part. That's when we get to experience joy. That's when, everything that's supposed to be is. And I love to watch that happen. It's something I've done ever since I was little.
Yeah, the one thing that immediately hits me when we're talking about this, though, is the fact that that this process is different for everyone, right? And at different times in their lives, right?
Absolutely. I've had a lady that came to me that was 76 years old, and she started her awakening process at the time that she met me. And so at 76 years old, she was just now understanding what she was here for and why she came and her whole purpose to this life, and everything finally made sense to her. And the craziest part about this 76-year-old woman is that I love to tell this story, is that she actually dreamt of me her whole entire life. She used to have dreams of me. She would see my face and she could hear my voice and she could hear my teachings, but she never knew how to apply them or what they actually meant. And so when she met me, she basically came running across the room, saying that she's waited her whole life for me. And I said, but ma'am, I'm only 42 years old. And I was only 42 at that time. And she says to me, but I saw you in my dream. I've been waiting for you. I've been waiting for you. And she was explaining to me some of her dreams, and it was just so crazy. The alignment of her dreams were perpendicular to the teachings that I teach now. It went in segment just like I teach now.
Wow. I mean,
I mean, it was crazy.
that's pretty incredible. Do you have any idea? I mean, obviously, we would never expect everyone if they're gonna when they choose when they're gonna be awoken, however you want to say it. Someone who is 75, 76. Do we know why it may be longer for some than others?
Well, it's really is that it's about us and choosing it. And so it's about our path. So free choice really does play a huge role in the awakening process, because we can either choose to or not to. And there's no right or wrong when it comes to living our lives. And so free choice comes into play a lot when it comes to us awakening or not awakening.
Is free for that free choice? I mean, it's so that's while we're living our lives now. It's not like a contract thing or anything, right?
Right. So free choices that we don't have to agree to the contract. So we come here with contracts, meaning that we have a purpose that we're supposed to fulfill. So we like have a theme for our lives. For instance, mine is a psychic medium and connecting people to the other side and teaching them everything that I know about the awakening process and how we all have abilities. And that's what I came here to do, is to wake up the world. But for part of my life, I didn't choose to be that person. I didn't choose to be in alignment with that person. And so a lot of my alcoholism day, when I went through my extreme alcoholic days, I wasn't in alignment with that person at all. And so that prolonged the process of where I was supposed to be. So I'm about 7 years behind where I would have been if I wouldn't have chose alcoholism for that 7 years.
Wow, that's very interesting. Do you? I mean, and even if you may not be privy to share. The 76-year-old. Was it that if she had met you, say, 5 years earlier, would that awakening happen? Were you the conduit for that awakening?
Yeah, I was the conduit for the awakening. And so it just had to be in alignment. And, I pretty much was pretty apologetic that it took me so long to come out of the closet. Because I had all this information my whole entire life, but didn't start sharing it just till 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Publicly. I would share it in different places, but not publicly. And so I apologized to her, and she was just so happy and so gracious that she had finally met me, because she really wondered if she wasn't just quite crazy at this point in her life at this age, that she was dreaming about this woman that she didn't even believe it existed. And her whole entire life I was this age in her dreams. I was in my 40s, and
Hmm.
she was dreaming of me when she was young, when she was a child. And so she would dream about me in my 40s, even when she was a child. So the alignment was supposed to take place when I was in my 40s.
Wow, that's I mean, that's pretty awesome, but it's crazy at the same time. I mean, just to think how that you were being thought about, you were being dreamed of before you were born.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people actually, and this is, when I first started coming out and doing the psychic readings and, doing the teachings that I always know and the things that God teaches me and I take and reteach to everybody else. The crazy part is that a lot of people dream about me, and this is not to make me have a God complex or make me seem like something that is superior to others. It just really is something that I've learned since I've come out of the spiritual closet and shared my gifts with people, is that they do dream of me. A lot of people do, hundreds. They'll talk to me. You'll see it even on my Facebook feeds that people have dreams about me all the time. And I think that goes to say that, people who are messiahs or people who are, the light bringers or the indigo children, we are so important because we're leading the rest of the people to explore who they're truly meant to be. And so the reason for the dreams is to help that awakening process happen.
Tonight we are talking with psychic medium Refined Divine Deb. We're talking about the awakening process. I feel like there are people out there who want this so badly. They want to have this moment so badly. Do you run into many that miss? They mistake something else for that awakening. They think that they've achieved that, and they actually have not yet done so.
Unfortunately, people will mistake spiritual ego for awakening. So spiritual ego can be activated when we are reading books and watching videos in Gaia and YouTube and obtaining all this information inside of our brain. And the first thing that God always wants me to teach all of you is that spiritual ego is not the awakening. You cannot learn your way into awakening. Awakening is a process of every single one of your chakras opening and the pineal gland aligning with that third eye. And that cannot be learned. You cannot learn your way into your intuitive gifts or your psychic abilities. It's a process. It's a process of enlightenment that comes through accepting your dark side and your light side and making that into unconditional love for yourself and love for others. And so once we combine that light and dark side and do come into that fulfillment of who we're truly supposed to be, that pineal gland does stimulate that third eye and activate, and you become very, very, very psychic. And then the huge part of that is learning to stay inside of your body. And when we're in spiritual ego, we can't stay inside of our bodies because we're out here judging exterior circumstances because we are in spiritual ego. And so when we're in spiritual ego, some of the signs and symptoms that you'll know is that you'll feel bigger, better, badder than others. You'll think that you have more knowledge than others. You'll believe that your way is the only way. And you'll believe that you always have the answer.
Yeah.
And so we always like to say that whenever people ask Debbie, what do you know, or can you share what you know? And the first thing I'll always proclaim is, I don't know anything. I know nothing. All I proclaim to ever do is just channel what the knowledge that they give me and allow that to flow through me so that everybody can experience that knowledge. I, Debbie, don't know anything. All I'm aware of is what comes through me. And I also learn when they come through me and they teach.
And that's to a great example of this is when we do one question readings, or anytime you do a reading, that you being the conduit, the information goes in and out, and people will be like, oh, remember this? And you're like, I don't, because
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm just an expressway for the message. Is there also a I also can imagine there's, you talk about spiritual ego, there has to be spiritual jealousy. And the reason why I bring that up is I run into so many people who, they're running in the same circles as mediums and other people. And I'm not going to say whether or not they're, those mediums or are awakened, or they have the gifts or whatever else. But I feel like there's some people who want it so badly that they're just kind of running with it. And I think when you had said that this is not something you can learn from a book or from watching television, I think it's very important to remember that. And so I just immediately in my mind, I just think of like spiritual jealousy as well.
Yep. And so spiritual jealousy actually does come from the ego, because the spiritual ego wants to be better than. And so the jealous part of it is that you want to be better than yourself, right? You want to be the other person. And so jealousy is going to spark that spiritual ego, because we want to be better than who we are. And so we can never be in alignment with the enlightenment process if we are being somebody we're not. We are meant to be ourselves, and to come in alignment with ourselves and understand our gifts and what we're here for and our purpose. And so anytime that we're finding that we want to be somebody else, we could never be in alignment with who we're supposed to be.
I bring it up only because, and then, my one moment tonight being on the soapbox, I see so many mediums on my Facebook feed, and it just, to me, it just, not authentic. And you do wonder that, and that always gets back, and this is a conversation for another day of what are we looking for when we're wanting to talk to a medium, and what's authentic. We've talked about this before. Deb, I want to do this. Why don't we go ahead? Let's take our first break, and what I want to do is when we come back, I want to talk about your awakening. I want to talk about what happened to you. I mean, I think that was like from day one with you, but we could talk about it as much as
but there's fluctuations, right? So with my alcoholism, you go back to sleep, and then you have to reawake and kind of go through that same stuff that you had before, and it fluctuates. And so we'll talk about that after the break.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and do that. You are listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I've been talking for a while about how spooky, fun, and fascinating the Minneapolis trolley tours are, but now there's big news. The Candlelight Ghost Tours now begin at the historic Pillsbury Club, a beautifully restored haunted mansion once owned by Charles Pillsbury himself. Believe it or not, the interior is nearly 200 years older than the exterior. How is that possible? You'll have to come out and find out. Before or after your tour, stop by the on-site market featuring a curated collection of handmade goods, artisan crafts, and locally inspired treasures. Perfect for picking up a keepsake to remember your haunting adventure. You'll also find exclusive spooky merchandise from Tales of the Crypt and Elvira. Then, climb aboard the climate-controlled trolley as we travel through Minneapolis' haunted hotspots, uncovering ghost stories that locals would rather keep buried. The mansion is restored to perfection, and there is no better way to spend an evening. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets and more information. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh, every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. Greg Bakun here. It's nice to get out of the Twin Cities and take some travel excursion to some great locations. Minnesota has so much to offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com. And one of the great things that is going on here is that Deb is so busy. There's a lot of stuff going on. Deb, do you want to just quickly tell us some of the stuff that's going on that you would like to talk about and promote that's happening for you?
Sure. So this weekend we're going to be in Wisconsin Rapids at Hotel Mead, and that's going to be a 10 to 4. And I'm going to be doing a psychic gallery at noon, and tickets are on sale on my website. You can go to refinedivinepsychic.com and buy those tickets. And then Sunday we're going to be in Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, at the Barn Restaurant, and that's going to be a 10 to 5 excursion for that Awakening Expo. And so we're so excited for this weekend.
Yep.
Next weekend, we're going to be in Maple Grove, right up there by the Twin Cities, Greg. And we're going to be with the Two Guys in the Know, and we're going to be at the community center. Now, Friday, I'm doing a VIP event where I'm going to have an exclusive 3 hours with me with hands-on learning. And I'm going to teach you all those things that the other psychics and healers don't want you knowing. And so we are going to do an exclusive hands-on learning with psychic medium skills and channeling and healing and all that great stuff. It is going to be catered with appetizers. And so it's going to be an exclusive event. I'm really excited about it. And then that Saturday, I'm going to also be at the Maple Grove Expo from 10 to 5 doing readings. And I'm also doing the gallery that day at noon as well.
You're just busy, as always, busy.
Well, then on Sunday, we're going to be, after Maple Grove, I'm in Winona, Minnesota. And I'm going to be at Signatures. And we're going to be doing our Awakening Expo that Sunday after that. So, boy, if you say you can't find me, then you're not looking hard enough, because I'm everywhere.
Well, and very much to the point too that those of us listening in the Twin Cities area, certainly the sweet spot will be a week from Friday and Saturday for your VIP event, as well as being in Maple Grove, and that's gonna be great. And then Winona, Signatures is a fantastic location. It really is.
It's
really
so beautiful.
Yeah.
That Starlight Ballroom is just something, isn't it? I know you did your speech there, and it is just phenomenal. And it's haunted, and so it adds that extra little charisma, don't it?
It really does. Now, Linda Judd asked the question: can the special 3-hour class be seen at a later date on video?
No, it is only an exclusive event where you come and attend and be a part of that. It's $111 for the 3 hours, and you can register on the Two Guys in the Know website.
There you go. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, we're going on a cruise in November. Not together. There's going to be a lot of other people as well. It's not just you and I. But Dave may not be happy about that if otherwise. So.
Well, Dave's not driving, so I don't know where he's going to be.
I don't know where Dave is now. And I know physically, but like mentally, I'm not sure where Dave is at. So.
We're gonna put our 4-wheel drives on to go to the Maya rooms.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. And once again, folks, with all that, you still have time to figure out joining us on the cruise in November, and we're going to be doing GhostBox Radio from there every night, but also just what you're going to be offering. That's the main thing. And you set this up so that people can enjoy and have a nice vacation, as well as a wonderful experience of working with you and learning and being fantastic. So
yeah, it's a 2-day spiritual retreat included into the cruise, and so that is the 2 C days, and that is going to be from 11 for those 2 C days. I'm going to be teaching for the spiritual retreat, but then the rest of the time we're going to be partying up with the rest of the the cruise ship and living our best lives and going to the beach and going to the Maya ruins and living it up. That's my dream, is to just travel around and to teach people and to live our best lives. And a little sneak peek preview for next year, Greg, next November. We're talking about maybe doing a European cruise.
My goodness, I should start saving my pennies.
It's going to be just as affordable as this one, because I and Dave reserve so many rooms, and so it's going to always be affordable. It's never going to be expensive when it comes to our cruises.
I'm going to get Chad on the horn as soon as we're done here. Then start getting things in motion. Let's see here. Linda once again asked the question: what city is the 3-hour class in? It's in Maple Grove, right?
Yep, Maple Grove Community Center. And you
Yeah.
can go to Two Guys and the No website, and that is going to lead you straight to the tickets.
Yeah. So definitely. And Linda, before you ask, Maple Grove is in Minnesota. And I'm not trying to be rude about it. I just know that she's not in Minnesota. So I just want to make sure
Oh,
that
okay.
she's aware of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tonight we are talking with psychic medium Refined Divine. We're talking about experiences tonight, and we're talking about the awakening process. And I thought that the stuff we talked about the last segment was really interesting, and I appreciate all that. What about your story, Deb? What about your story and your awakening?
Yep. So a lot of my life, Greg, I always was very advanced and knowing like that everything here on earth was really made up, right? So I didn't really conform. And so my conformity never worked in school. The school system couldn't get me to listen for the life of them. So they ended up putting me into a special education system. And so with that special education system, they kind of just tucked me away and hoped that I wouldn't make too much disturbance, right? Well, if you know me, there's no such thing as not as being quiet and not speaking
Right.
the truth. And so I made it a very loud impact into the school system. And then I went back to school because I wanted to go into that system that was corrupt and hid me in a special education system and help those children that were special just like me and that had gifts and were also being suppressed. And so that's exactly what I did, Greg. I went to college and I went back into the special education system. And I actually even went and worked in the school that put me in the special education system so that I could be the example of what they were doing to other kids.
Wow, that's great. And be able to give back that way as well.
Absolutely. And I cannot tell you how many children I came across, hundreds that were, very intuitive, very psychic mediums, that were labels just like I had with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and all the things. All undiagnosed spiritual gifts are labeled as mental illnesses.
Yeah, yeah, they are. Switching gears just a little bit, just slightly. Yesterday, I had I did a talk to a group of senior citizens in Elk River, which isn't too far from me. And one of the things I commented on the show yesterday about it, and one of the things that was really just was crazy to me in a sense, is how many of them came up to me afterwards talking about the gifts that they had and they didn't really know what to do with anything, that they're just, it ranged from it's overwhelming to ranging to, I'm seeing people all the time. It's just interesting how we don't, a lot of people have stuff and they never really talk about it.
Yeah, well, a lot of what's happening when we don't talk about it, is because we kind of want to fit in. I went through a lot
Yeah.
of that. That's why I got into my alcoholism, was to suppress the psychic abilities and to suppress the intuitiveness and to suppress my connection to God. And so
Yeah.
that I could be like everybody else and live a normal life, right? I just became a drunken psychic. I mean,
Yeah.
really, the
Yeah.
only thing I suppressed was my ability to connect with spirit and to God. I still heard dead people, and I still had a connection to the other side, but I understand the knowingness of being scared of telling people about it and sharing it because they look at you like you're crazy. Like they look down at you. They look like you're weird. Especially in the school system. When I worked in the school system, I would talk about, you know, we had kids where their parents would pass away, and I of course would want to tell them their dad is sitting right behind you and he's with you and he talks to you and sends you things and memories and all the things. But I did that a couple times, and I'll tell you what, the cat gets out of the bag and you get canned.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've certainly have, run into it with the stuff that I do, and that's why I don't hang around with people anymore because, it's just and it's not so much that, but you do get that sort of thing where you can kind of see some people are judging when you tell them
Oh,
certain things, and that's just how it is.
absolutely. Oh
Um,
my goodness. I'll tell you what, I worked at the school system here in Galesville, Gail Ector Trumpelo. I was a substitute teacher here. And when I came out that I was a psychic medium, boy, that was news.
I bet.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking with Deb Refined Divine tonight, and we're talking about the awakening process. I'd like to ask something maybe a little bit more personal, if I may.
Sure.
And this is actually more about Dave.
Sure.
We've had Dave on in lieu of you one night, and we had this absolutely amazing conversation about spirit and mediumship and everything else. And I know that
Mm-hmm.
Dave has been on and folks who don't know, Dave is Deb's husband, and Dave has been on this journey. Dave and I rip on each other back and forth all the time. We have a great time, but the work that he's been doing is very noteworthy. I'm just curious in that process, where is he at?
Yeah. So it's been a long 5 years.
Also
No,
known as Dr. Doolittle, but yeah, okay. Yeah.
yes, Dave has become so selfless that he has taken in all strays. So I'll tell you what, Greg, the whole reason why I started classes in the first place was so that Dave could have a space where he felt like he wasn't judged and where he felt like he had a community so that he could grow and understand, and the awakening process wasn't so hard for him. Because I'll tell you what, when I met Dave, he was so asleep that he was an energy vampire. You know, he
Oh,
literally got his love from exterior forces, right? When I first met Dave, within 30 minutes of talking to him, I felt like I could hardly hold my eyes open because his attention was always exterior and always pulling from exterior forces. And that's what people who are asleep will do, especially people who have, severe traumas. They'll pull exterior forces for their love instead of having that love for themselves on the inside. And so the first thing I had to do was help him learn that we don't get love from exterior forces, and that it actually is very damaging to other humans when we do that. And I explained it to him, and it took a process of that. But with opening classes and having people come in, and Dave learning with them and growing with them, he's come light years in 5 years. We're talking a completely asleep vampire-ish human that was narcissistic to a very empathic, motivated, emotionally driven human that wants to help mankind and supports everything I do. We're talking white and black here, like a complete flip.
well, that's incredible, and good for Dave. I mean, like I said, and if you haven't heard it, and I'll try to find the date of when we did that, folks should really seek out that episode and listen to it, because there is,
Yeah.
it really kind of goes to show it's a true testament to you, Deb, as well, of how you've been able to help him along, and it's even a greater obvious testament to Dave for actually being able to do and stick with it and learn.
Yeah, well, I always love to use the Bible as an example, and I know people get twitchy when I say Bible. But honestly, when you look at the Bible, it's a parable.
Yeah.
And each individual person that's in the Bible is a characteristic character, okay? So you have your Matthews, and you have your Davids, and you have your Jesuses, and you have people who are disciples, and you have people who came here as apostles, okay?
Hmm.
And so what we know and what God has taught me is that every single one of us can evolve from the lowest level of Judas in the Bible, which is, scandalous, manipulative, taking energy, and, being very manipulative towards others, to becoming Jesus Christ himself.
Yeah.
And so we can come from a very dark level and work our way up through those levels of enlightenment to be the most enlightened being that has ever been known to the earth. It is completely possible to do that in one lifetime.
And not to get us too far off topic here, I mean, to me, Bible does not equate to religion anyway.
No, absolutely not. The Bible is literally the most beautiful book I have ever seen in my entire life. And honestly, not a lot of people know this, Greg, but I am channeling the Bible. I'm
Yeah.
rewriting it, taking it piece by piece by piece. And it's very encrypted, actually. It's a very beautiful book that is encrypted about spirituality and enlightenment. It's just been misinterpreted for millions of years.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. Misinterpreted as well as used for
Manipulation.
profiteering. Yeah. Yeah, very much so. Why don't we go ahead and do this, because I want to switch subjects a little bit, and I think that the best thing to do is just go ahead and take our next break so we can find our way to our next conversation. We're going to come back. We're going to talk more with Deb, Refined Divine. We're talking about the awakening process. If you have any questions about it, put it into the comments, because that's what we're here for. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I've been talking for a while about how spooky, fun, and fascinating the Minneapolis trolley tours are. But now there's big news. The Candlelight Ghost Tours now begin at the historic Pillsbury Club, a beautifully restored haunted mansion once owned by Charles Pillsbury himself. Believe it or not, the interior is nearly 200 years older than the exterior. How is that possible? You'll have to come out and find out. Before or after your tour, stop by the on-site market featuring a curated collection of handmade goods, artisan crafts, and locally inspired treasures. Perfect for picking up a keepsake to remember your haunting adventure. You'll also find exclusive spooky merchandise from Tales of the Crypt and Elvira. Then, climb aboard the climate-controlled trolley as we travel through Minneapolis' haunted hotspots, uncovering ghost stories that locals would rather keep buried. The mansion is restored to perfection, and there is no better way to spend an evening. Visit MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for tickets and more information. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. Greg Bakun here. It's nice to get out of the Twin Cities and take some travel excursion to some great locations. Minnesota has so much to offer, which is why I love traveling down to Wabasha and staying at the historic Anderson House Hotel. Opened in 1856, this beautiful hotel offers comfortable accommodations, has a delicious restaurant, and even a speakeasy in the basement to unwind with a drink. Located next to the Mississippi River and on Main Street, there is a lot of sightseeing and shopping to do too. To get more information, go to theandersonhousehotel.com. And join me tomorrow on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun. We are going to have and see the return of Moon Girl, Mistress of the Paranormal. She is a very good friend of mine. She is also very talented. She was my first guest when we started to go nightly back in 2023 on July 10th. Tomorrow she's going to be joining us talking about numerology. She is going to read based on Adam's birth chart tomorrow. It's going to be a great program, and you got to check it out. Thursday, we're going to be talking with Paul Blake Smith. We're going to be talking about the Nixon Gleason alien encounter, one of my favorite episodes. And if you haven't heard it, this is crazy. You're going to want to check it out. Something, Deb, I want to talk about just very quickly, if I may, before we get back on subject here. Wade has said that he loves the topic tonight, and he is lost in grief. It is relaxing his mind. I just want to, let people know, and we talked about this very briefly yesterday, and who would have thought that this would have been something more national news than anyone would thought. A close friend of Wade's, Dan Rivera, had passed away yesterday. Or I don't know when he passed away. I know that he has passed away. The news broke yesterday. Just a lot of crazy news stories and stuff out there. Can I just ask everyone, just remember this: if you're gonna think about Dan. Keep him in your prayers. Keep his family in your prayers. Please just remember this. The only thing that matters is that he was a father to 4 children. He was a husband. He was a friend to a lot of people. That's all that really matters at this moment. There's a lot of other weird stuff being said in terms about, his paranormal background, how he worked for and stuff. Folks, in my mind, that's all that matters, is that a good person had passed away. Please remember that, because even TMZ and stuff had picked up the story and whatnot. And I just really wanted to kind of address that. So I just wanted to do that. Hopefully, Deb, you don't mind. I just kind of took over there for a second, but that was something that was very important to me to talk about. Wade is a good friend of mine. I didn't know Dan very well at all, but right now there's a lot of people really struggling with this shock, and what they need now is support, friendship, and remembering Dan for his core values. So that's all I'm going to say on that. We have Psychic Medium Refined Divine with us tonight. Deb is talking about the awakening process, and do you want to take questions, or I have some other questions too? How would you like to proceed?
Sure. Yeah, I'm game for all of it.
Let's go with Andra here. Andra says, so I had a moment when I was a child where I really connected to God and helped my brother with his ailment. My psychic ability was just getting in tune, although spotty for a number of years since then. Recently, I feel has gone to the wayside, even though when I think of somebody and they'll call me or vice versa, I don't get those psychics like I don't get those psychics like I used to. What should I do to strengthen this?
Mm-hmm. And so, Andrea, when I look into your energy field, it's a lot of you paying attention to things on the exterior. And so when you were helping your brother, you were very inside of your vessel. And so for us to make that connection to God and to God's source and to get into those abilities and to use those abilities, we must stay inside of our bodies. And so that means paying attention to what you're doing and who you are and your emotions and your thoughts and deciphering yours from everybody else's. And so the next step in your healing and your evolution into getting back into that psychic abilities is really just working on who are you and staying true to yourself and not going into exterior things.
There you go, Andra. I hope that is helpful to you. And that's just it. I mean, everything to me, everything is kind of like a muscle. I'm the last person to ever talk about what a muscle is, but I mean, it's always about keep doing stuff. I mean, I say this to you before about spirit box work. The idea of I haven't done it in a while, and I could feel that I'm not being able to connect with spirit the way that I used to, and I do believe that is something that I need to be able to pick up again, I guess.
Well, do you want to hear what they're saying about that, Greg?
Sure.
It's because you're more in tune with hearing, and so they're trying to communicate through your psychic abilities more, and then less through the spirit box. And so, coming through this way naturally, other than the spirit box. And so it's more about listening to your psychic abilities than it is that spirit box now.
Absolutely. And, I mean, I love spirit box, obviously. I've always kind of knew in the back of my mind it's a bit of a crutch. But I like, I like it. I like also seeing the response of people when they hear their loved one's voice come through it.
Yes, absolutely. And that is very special. Honestly, when I hear a voice come through, I'm over here going, oh, and people are like, you listen to dead people all day long. And I'm like, oh, yeah, but you don't understand. Like, that's different.
Yeah.
That's in the here and the now. That's the earth plane. That gets me excited. And when I got to sit on your session when you spoke in Winona, that was magical for me. When I got to hear it come through the spirit box and through my psychic connection, that was amazing. That was super cool.
That's the validation everyone wants to get. And
Yep.
we got somebody who worked there, if I'm not mistaken, a friend, I believe a friend of hers that had passed, and she came through to talk.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, incredible. Andra says what we had just talked about. She says that makes sense. Happy to hear that. And then Linda, she says something somewhere. There we are. She says, Deb, how do you feel about holding a space of love for someone, and would you tell them about it?
And so when we're talking about holding space for people, we're talking about here or people are on the other side. That's always a good thing. And whenever we add love to anything, it's going to create good things to happen. It's the highest frequency here on earth and the highest frequency in the ever after world. And so anytime we hold anything in the space of love, it's an amazing thing. And would you tell them about it? Well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you could tell them or not tell them. It's still doing the same thing.
And aren't you doing that regardless? If you truly love someone, whether it's
Yeah.
love of a relationship or love of a friendship, that you're always kind of holding it, and you're not really even realizing, because that's the parameter that you're in with that relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And so even just holding somebody in your space and in your attention with love is creating good in their lives, you
Yeah.
know? It's paving the way for beautiful things to happen.
I mean, I guess, and I once again, I'm not trying to have a go at anybody, but I think if someone said to me, "I'm holding a space of love for you," I'd be, and if depending on the relationship, like if they're a girlfriend or something, I'd be like, "I hope so." I mean, honestly, I mean, to
Yeah.
me, that'd be like a bit of a no-brainer, perhaps, and maybe we don't think of it quite that way, or maybe Linda
I
means
think
it in a different way.
Dave
I don't know.
holds a space of love for you, Greg.
Dave holds a space of love for every cat on the planet Earth. I know that much. I know that much to be true. My gosh, and
True.
like I said, Doctor Doolittle. It's if he could
His
talk to the animals.
his last two birthdays, he's gifted with a stray, and his birthday's coming up August
Oh my
31st. And
God.
he looked at me and said, so do you think maybe another stray will come along on my birthday? I said, so help me God, there better not be no more strays. Because I can't fit no more in my bed, Greg.
Oh my
We
God. I
have to
mean,
change the sheets every night
well,
because of
and
the kitty hair.
and I'll tell you, when you're getting those big storms out there, I start thinking Noah's Ark, because he's going to have not two of every animal, he's going to have like 15 of every animal, and
He's got a mountain built up behind our shop. It's gravel and dirt and all the things, and it's a big mountain. And he feeds them and waters them on top of that mountains to make sure that they get their nourishment.
so Linda had another comment that I thought was very interesting and made me think of something. She says, in college, I had a crisis of faith that drove me to seek. When you're about to kind of blossom and have those awakenings, do you have any, like, either premonition or tremor, or something that kind of is like kind of building up that it's going to happen?
Yes. Absolutely. I'll get people that come to me all the time and say, I have this coming to me and I have these visions, or I've had, these awakening or these nightmares or these dreams. And so there's a lot of things where we'll get clues, and we'll get like a crisis that happens in our life that pushes us to the awakening. When my brother passed away, that's when I got sober. And so that crisis pushed me back into my awakening and back into my psychic abilities and what I was meant to do here on this earth after he passed away. And I went into a life of servancy where I was helping my mother and my father and my brother and everybody kind of deal with this horrible, terrific death that, just took place and shook my whole family and put me back in alignment with who I truly am.
Yeah.
And so, absolutely, Linda.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good point, and I'm glad that she brought that up. And what I also like about that is she took a moment, a crossroads, and turned it into something good, opposed to being like, I had a crisis of faith and I lost it all.
Yeah, well, we'll be pushed to faith and pushed to spirit and pushed to God whenever something very beautiful or something we love is taken from us. And, sometimes that's needed. And I know that my brother's death served a great purpose in my life. So, Greg, before he died when I was a child, I used to have
Mhm.
this dream of this man in this casket. And I used to walk up to the casket in the dream. I used to be very terrified of this man in the casket. I would look down and I would see the blue carpet, and I would look up and I would see the red walls. And I would be very terrified, and I'd be so lost in the dream. And this dream haunted me until I was probably a young teenager, 14, 15 years old. I believe it stopped. And I'd forgotten all about the dream until my brother's funeral. I walked into the
Mm.
funeral procession. I looked down, blue carpet. I looked up, red walls.
Wow.
And I looked in the casket, and there was the man that I had saw and that had haunted me in my dreams.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Amber says, I miss having a stronger connection to spirit and the other side when I was a caregiver, newer career. I don't feel as connected as I once did, hoping to regain that stronger connection and to remain there.
Amber, it's because of that giving nature that you have. And so when I look into your heart space, you are a natural born empath, a healer, and a giver. And so to be in alignment with your gifts, you must be in alignment of that service nature of, nursing or caregiving. Um, Ever thought about hospice care, Amber?
That's a way to brighten the day. But yeah, I mean,
Well, hospice care for some people is a positive, Greg.
yes, I know.
The service to people that are passing on the other side and bringing great joy to the passing, right? Passing to the other side is supposed to be a celebration of life. It's supposed to be the hurrah, you made it, happily ever after. But the United States makes it a very grim reaper type stuff.
You have to be a very specialized person to do it. I mean,
Well, and
clearly,
Amber
what
has
we
that
just learned, I can't. So, I mean, but
Amber has it though. I'm telling you.
mhm,
I can
mhm.
feel it. And so that's why I'm asking her. They're talking to us about hospice care.
I have she says she has done hospice and a death doula. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There
And
you
so
are.
that's where her heart lies, and that's what she's meant for. I'm telling you, because they're talking to us about hospice care and how she's truly meant for that.
Now she currently works with disabled right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not as heart driven though. I mean, it takes a lot of love, and it's a different type of love, right?
Yeah.
Um, when we work with hospice care and we work with the dying and the progression of going into the other side, it takes a person that has that healing ability, and she has that. And so to make that transition in that rainbow road so much brighter, she just has that ability. It's what she's meant for. That's why she's so connected and aligned when she's in that line of work.
We have less than 2 minutes left. One thing I wanted to quickly say is that her saying that hasn't felt connected like she used to. Oddly enough, I've been hearing that from a number of mediums as well. It seems to be, and I'm sure that it's different for everybody, but it seemed to be a bit of a trend about it too within the last year or so.
So the progression of going into the 5D, when we went through that huge energy shift, a lot of what happened with this last year is a suppression of our human stuff. And so it's coming up now. We're having to deal with our human lives because we have to also live a human life. Even though we are psychic mediums and we are very gifted, we still have to deal with our humanism and our human lives. And so this last year, a lot of those earthly things have been coming up for us to deal with. And so that's what's happening, because when we're dealing with our earthly life and processing, we're not as psychic as what we are when we aren't doing that. And so that's the kind of cycle that's happening right now, is that everybody's going through this, getting rid of this old stuff so that we can evolve and bump up.
Absolutely. That's great. Now, as we are wrapping up here, I do want to remind folks, first of all, if you haven't done so, please go to Deb's website, refinedivinepsychic.com. You're going to find everything that she's doing, but also you'll want to go to her Facebook page, Psychic Medium Refined Divine, like that, so that you can see everywhere she's going. Remember, folks, that she's going to be in the Twin Cities in 2 weeks. We'll be talking about that a little bit more next week. Deb, as always, what a great conversation. Thank you so very much for all the information and the insight that you've given us tonight.
My pleasure, Greg. And also know that I teach all this in my classes on Mondays and Wednesdays. Check that out.
Absolutely. So go to refinedivinepsychic.com, see when the classes are happening. Everyone will be back tomorrow with Moon Girl, Mistress of the Paranormal, Numerology. Everyone, have a fantastic evening.